So I kind of made a total 180 regarding my setup, as it wasn't that long ago that I made a video about my PC setup, but I've actually been struggling to fit other things on there that I wanted to add in since I ran out of realistic, considering just the overall size of my desk. So ironically, I actually ended up going with a smaller desk that has more depth, and that literally made a massive difference. But there are many more changes that I've made since then, and I'm actually ready to finally start sharing my setup with you all. So let's go ahead and dive into the best setup for video editing, streaming, and gaming for 2021. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Before we continue, I just want to remind you that we have a Twitch channel where we stream every Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. and to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, so why not go ahead and drop a follow? And also don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and also make sure to check out the merch store. There's plenty of black and white sweetness to choose from up there, so go ahead and check that out. And then make sure to take a look at the podcast as well, as the podcast always goes live every Wednesday and Sunday. And with that said, enough rambling, let us get straight into the video. And let's begin with the PC that powers this entire setup. This is the most expensive PC I have ever built, and one that has carried my setup through zero hiccups. This is a custom build with an RTX 3090, a Ryzen 9 3950X, 128 gigs of RAM, 2 terabytes of M.2 NVMe storage, 8 terabytes of dump storage, and a 1000 watt power supply. This is a monster PC that cost me around $4,500 to build, and that also includes an Elgato 4K 60 Pro capture card, by the way. But this PC has not filled me to this day, and it better not with how expensive it is. And now I upgraded to a desk from Green Forest. This is still an L-shaped desk like the other one that I had, but because of its greater depth and its sharper corners, I can actually push it against my wall all the way and just make even more space in my room. I love the look of it in general, and it is a desk that came with other parts too, but I just wanted the desk itself without any of the other bells and whistles. It just wasn't necessary, so I went ahead and got rid of those. Now, I really love this desk, and I should have it around for quite a while to come. And now the stand riser on my desk is one from Superjar, which looks beautiful and matches the aesthetic of the desk quite well, if I do say so myself. It's staggered in the heights so that you can get a little funky with it if you want to, and I've really made it work for me, as I can run cables underneath it and lets me set up my speakers just as I would want them to, since I am using a set of serial speakers. So that's pretty cool. And now over here, I also have a wireless charger around, since both of the smartphones that I use on a daily basis, which are my Pixel 4 and my iPhone 12, support wireless charging, and this is a premium padded one from Native Union Drop. It's powered by a USB-C cable, but it has this padding on it that makes taking care of my tech a very easy task and won't scratch any of my stuff at all. Small, but very effective and quite powerful, in fact. Like, I can get a pretty quick charge out of this, in fact. My main monitor is quite an old one, in fact, and that I bought about 5 years ago, but I still see no need to upgrade. This is an Asus ROG 1440p monitor that runs 144 Hz, 1 millisecond response time, and has G-Sync, and even supports NVIDIA's 3D Vision. It's from around 2016, probably even a little bit earlier, but I still think it looks beautiful, and I haven't had any issues with it whatsoever. I love the colors, the refresh rate, the size, and it's been great for my gaming purposes and video editing alike. It's a monitor that truly has endured the test of time. And then right underneath my monitor is going to be my glorified sub counter, which is the Lumetric Time. It's a smart clock that updates me on my subscribers on YouTube and followers on a bunch of other platforms like Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and more. But I also like it for looking at the time and the weather, so it is just nice to have around, though it is really just a sub counter for me. My second monitor is an Acer 24-inch 1080p monitor with a refresh rate of 75 Hz. It's an IPS panel that looks quite nice, though it is a pretty cheap monitor overall. I use it mostly as a secondary display when streaming, to have Streamlabs and Twitch open at the same time, but it is also the monitor that I use to play my PlayStation 5 games, but I will get into that in just a sec. I used to use it as a vertical display, but I decided to trim down the monitors on my desk from 4 monitors to 3 monitors, so this one is hung up on the wall now, and honestly it looks a lot better than the one I had before. And now right on top of that monitor is going to be the Logitech C920, which is really just a backup webcam. I don't actually stream with this one at all. It is a nice webcam that records at 1080p, and it's one of the few webcams that I would recommend in general. And now, just as promised, here's my PlayStation 5. This is the digital edition, and as of now, it's been a Demon's Souls remake machine, since that's pretty much the only exclusive I'm actually interested in playing on it right now, but I also bought it for review purposes, and that review should certainly be available by now. But the system is very fast, very powerful, and very sleek for that matter. It fits perfectly on my desk, and I love what Sony has done with this system. I also have it here because I eventually plan on streaming with it on Twitch, so having it close to my capture card is definitely the best way to go here. Now, for charging my DualSense controllers, I'm using this neat looking charging dock from Kailan. You can charge up to 2 DualSense controllers through the pins on the bottom, and it lights up in blue when it's fully charged and in red when it's still charging the controller. It just looks really nice and it fits the aesthetic really well, which is why I decided to go with this. I also use the Sony Media Remote for the PlayStation 5 whenever I just want to watch content with the Sony 3D Pulse headphones on the side, and I do use a total mount remote mount to hold it up when I'm not using it to keep it off my desk. And speaking of the Sony Pulse 3D or 3D Pulse headset, this is a very good headset, but it is pretty difficult to find that MSRP right now. It is a great gaming headset for the PlayStation 5, but I mostly just wanted it for the super immersive experience that 3D audio offers in games like Demon's Souls Remake, for instance. It's very good for watching content too, and it's just the best way to play PlayStation 5 games in my opinion. If you don't have a great speaker setup, I actually have enough speakers on my desk since I have a stereo set here, and would rather keep it that way. I don't want to add any more on there, so this headset is more than enough for my needs. And then right next to that is going to be my Audio Technica AT-M40X. These are my main headphones for audio monitoring, listening to music on my PC, gaming privately, and video editing in general. They have a rich, balanced sound to them, and with a pretty wide soundstage. I've actually had these for about 3 years now and have no intentions of upgrading anytime soon. Aside from the audio stuff, when you saw my PlayStation 5, you definitely must have noticed the Oculus Quest 2 on the wall. Well, this is my VR machine, and I like to play games on it from time to time. It's my favorite VR headset so far, but prepare to sell your soul to Facebook if you want to use it at all. So do keep that in mind. And as many of you probably already know by now, I'm an animator, so I do have a drawing display, and this is the Huion Canvas 22 Plus, courtesy of Huion. This is a fantastic drawing display that is more affordable than many of the Wacom ones you'll find, and it has a 1080p display with a wide color gamut, and is very responsive and beautiful. I absolutely love animating on this thing and just working on some digital art projects. This display is one of my favorites for sure. And to supplement that, or my experience of just drawing on this, I have this wrist rest from Belkin, locked and loaded just to have a more comfortable time working on this display. You may have also noticed my 10TB WD external drive that I use to store all my videos in, and files that usually go between computers, but it's mostly been stationary here. And I'm also going to have right next to it a docking station from OKX that has an SD card slot, micro SD card slot, 3 USB 3.0 ports, and a USB-C port on the very front. And then on the back, there's going to be a display port, 2 HDMI ports, 2 USB ports, and a USB-C port, but this one's going to be for data to go directly into your computer, an Ethernet port, and then power in, because this is a powered dock after all. This is a very powerful and fast dock that allows for insane transfer speeds with my Sony 4K footage and much more. Like, I really like it, and it really makes my workflow go even faster as a result. For streaming gear in particular, I use the Go XLR. This is my audio interface of choice that offers a lot for customization and control of the audio. I can store sound samples on here, change to different voice changers and sound effects, individually control different aspects of my stream, but most importantly, EQ the hell out of my microphone to get the sound that I really want out of it, with many high-end features available just built onto this one audio interface, and it is very affordable for everything that it's capable of doing. I love it, and I'm very glad that I went this route. And here I have my Audio Technica BP40 hooked up to it. This is one of the most divisive XLR microphones I've ever heard of, but it is also the one that happens to suit me the most. It is a fantastic microphone that has a very good low end to it and happens to complement my voice quite well, in my opinion. at least. It was $350 and worth every single penny for my setup. It is the microphone that I've been using to record this entire video, by the way, so that's kind of what it sounds like with my voice. My keyboard of choice is going to be the Razer Black Widow Elite. This is a very loud and super clicky mechanical keyboard that sounds and feels great. It's got RGB lighting and it's fully customizable through Synapse. It's got some media controls as well if you're into that, and I do use them from time to time, but this keyboard has been great for all types of games, in my opinion, and fantastic for my typing experiences, of course. Also, I love this wrist rest that it comes with. It is pretty fantastic. And then we have the Corsair Nexus. This is just an LCD strip that is touch sensitive, so you can add controls to it if you really wanted to, but the experiences of using touch controls on this thing sucks, so I just have it as a metering thing per se. It tells me what my current CPU load is and my system temperatures, as well as the time, but it is really just a novelty thing. That's all it's really good for in my case, at least. However, another streaming tool is going to be my Stream Deck XL. This is a great tool for opening up applications on the fly and controlling my lights, such as my Elgato Key Lights and my Nanoleaf panels, with just one button. I can program transitions between my different scenes during a live stream and make many more adjustments as well. I also use it as a pad for displaying all of my characters' abilities in Final Fantasy XIV with the correct icons associated with these to go along with it. I love this thing, and the possibilities with it are nearly infinite. And speaking of infinite possibilities, here we actually have the Loupedeck CT at the center of my entire setup. This is an editing console, essentially, and has touch displays for customizing different functions. It's got knobs and programmable keys all over it, and it is all completely customizable, and it is just going to be a fantastic tool for editing videos in DaVinci Resolve, for instance, which is my preferred editor here. It completely sped up my workflow, and I don't joke around when I say that. It made me twice as efficient, since everything I need is within hand's reach, with even more precise controls than anything I've ever used to edit. But you can also use it in many different programs too, things like Photoshop, Blender, and so many other ones as well. This thing is just an absolute powerhouse. My mouse of choice is going to be the Logitech G502. It's an RGB, fully wired mouse with a lot of heft to it, as I prefer, and it is still a wonderful performer overall. No complaints, and it's just an amazing mouse for about $50, which is what I paid for quite some time ago. And then right underneath is going to be the Razer Firefly Chroma. This is a mousepad, a pretty wide one for that matter, and it is going to be RGB lit on the side and on the Razer logo, and it is going to have a hard surface to it. It is just a really nice mousepad. I've been using it for quite some time. I really like it. And now, before for speakers, I was using the Razer Leviathan, which is a soundbar with a subwoofer, an external one for that matter. And this time I actually switched to something more sleek and with more RGB greatness, and these are going to be the Razer Namo Chroma stereo speakers. They sound great and have tons of bass with different EQ settings to choose from, but most importantly, they just look really nice on my setup. And I still use a controller for a lot of games on PC, like RPGs that benefit from using a controller. The one that I like to use is actually the Razer Raichu Ultimate. I've had this controller for about 3 years now, and it has been fantastic. I have no plans of upgrading it, but the sticks are finally starting to wear out. This controller has a great grip, RGB lighting, and since it is originally a PlayStation 4 controller, it's got that layout for you with replaceable D-pad and thumbstick. I do love this controller to this day, and I have this smartphone mount as well for it so that I can hold it up whenever I'm not using it, or just have it on the side. And now for streaming, I like to use the Panasonic GX85. It is a 4K capable camera, but it doesn't matter since we won't be recording anything with it. It's been a great camera for streaming, and when combined with the 12 to 32mm lens that it's got attached to it, it is quite impressive just how much it can actually cover. I have it hooked up to my Elgato 4K60 internal capture card, and that's essentially how I got it to work with my PC. And lastly, the Elgato Key Light. This light clamps onto my desk and is super powerful. I can control it from my Stream Deck, which is awesome, and it's the only light that I need for streaming here. The rest are really just going to be decorative lights, such as my LifeX beam back there, and my double sets of Nanoleaf rhythm panels, and my TP-Link RGB strip behind my desk as well that you're going to see lighting up in blue. And that's pretty much everything. This setup, I think, is ideal for me considering how much room I have to work with. And if you're interested in any of the stuff that I mentioned in this video, take a look at the description for affiliate links and individual reviews as well if I've reviewed any of the stuff here. And thank you so much for joining me in today's setup tour. Now with that said, again, you can also use things like Luster, which is going to be a great tool for helping you compare things and just like showing you if there are any kind of discounts around. So I'm going to be leaving a link to that. And if you would rather finance any of the stuff that I have here, then there's going to be ABUNDA. I'm going to be leaving ABUNDA links to everything as well down in the description. It's very easy financing, no credit card required. Highly recommend it. Also make sure to subscribe for the text of my podcast. Talk about tech over there, so do make sure to stop by. And I also like to stream on Twitch, as you may already know. I stream every Friday and Saturday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern time. So why not drop a follow over there? I would love to see you over there and just chat. And you're going to also find links to the Discord server, which is another great way of reaching me. There's also my Instagram and my Twitter in case you're into that. But with that said, this has been Francisco from Tech Summit. Thank you so much for watching, and I will be seeing you all later. Enjoy.